Yes, I'm trying to show off my Momo shirt. Anyway, so today I'm going to tell you what parents are looking for from you during your online class. So, as you know, I've been teaching in Shanghai, China for the past 7 years. So, this is based off of my own experiences and kind of the feedback I've gotten throughout the years, and just kind of taken everything and put it down into just like 4 or 5 little things that you can do to get the parents to appreciate your work and what they're really looking for, out of you. The biggest thing I've noticed that is really important to parents is a clear American accent. So I think that's been like the biggest thing that I've gotten from parents, that they really like they immediately are drawn to the accent. So I know there are many different accents within the US, and but they really like almost like a, I guess, kind of like a, when you think of like a newscaster, that that kind of tone. I'm from the South, so I understand a good Southern drawl, but maybe just try to push it out a little more and try to keep your Southern accent a little bit more in, and just really work on your clarity, because they want their kids to learn the language, but they also want them to pick up that tone, so they'll have like a more natural accent, even though there are so many accents. But that is probably the biggest thing I've gotten, like, wow, we love your accent, wow, it's nice, it's clear. So I feel like that is probably number one. The next one is your energy levels. So they had me do a lot of demo classes at my last job, because I have that high energy, which I don't feel like always translates on YouTube. I don't know why, but I have a lot of energy. So I usually have to do the demo classes, because that's what gets them. They're like, wow, this is a really fun yet educational situation happening, and I want my kid to be a part of that. And so just that high energy, you don't have to be you might feel like a clown. I don't know. I guess it depends on your personality, but having high energy doesn't necessarily mean you're like, hi guys, how are you doing? It doesn't have to be like that. You can be chill, but high energy. Just pretty much when you talk to any kid, you don't talk to them like, hello, how was your day? You know what I mean? So it's just having a level of energy, and maybe just boost it even just a little bit, tad past what you might feel comfortable doing, and the parents will love that. The next thing is classroom management. And it seems a little weird to say that about an online class, but you do have to manage the classroom. For example, if there's a student that is talking a lot, or students that are not participating at all, or distracted, they want to see that you can do that without messing up the flow of the class. So that comes with a lot of practice, but just seeing how well, maybe little Danny's being a little noisy, you just turn his volume down and just keep going. You don't have to be, hey, Danny. You don't, just keep it going. Maybe the kids, you can't get them to elicit anything. So you just, if it seems like it's kind of dragging out, no matter your attempt, can you try, get the microphone, oops, if everything you're doing is not working, just let it go and just move on, and just great try everyone, and just keep it going. Just making sure that you have a nice flow, you're not getting frazzled, nothing is deterring you, you've got it. I think then, the parents really appreciate that, because a lot of the times you might not see them, but they're right there off the side or in the background, where you do see them just lurking, kind of they're watching you. So it's just a good strategy to have anyway, just so that, because you are on the time clock. So just get used to that. And kids can try to throw you for a loop sometimes, but just keep going, you know? They really appreciate you correcting their kids. Like, you can do correction without being like harsh or embarrassing, because that's another thing. Like, they don't like to feel embarrassed, you know, to save face and stuff like that. So there are ways you can do it. Like, if the kid stumbles or doesn't do a complete sentence, you can be like, nice try. Can you do it one more time? And then you just do it for them, like say it again and have them repeat it or something like that. And another big thing is with that correction is pronunciation, because they want their kids to sound like native English speakers. So like Chinese students have trouble with certain letters because those sounds aren't necessarily in their language. For example, V. Now you might see like an LV, but the V makes it U, so it's U. So they can't say that. So maybe you hear your students saying five instead of five. So just really like exaggerate that and get them to repeat after you, like five, or just be like five, just to try to like get them to understand that sound. And sometimes you can see them trying to shape their mouth to that sound, which is good. Even if they don't quite get it, you see that they're on the right track. Like, you don't have to spend like hours on it, but you should definitely address it a few times, especially if most of them are having the problem. But even if it's just one student, just try, like, Johnny, can you try? Five. Great job. So yeah, so that will really mean a lot to them. They'll really appreciate that, because some of the parents, well, whether they know the language or not, you should always try to do that, try to correct them. But some of the parents, really, their English is pretty good, and they'll know, like, you might hear them trying to correct their kid in the background too. So you just want to be doing that before they are, because I don't know, that could come back. But they really appreciate when they can tell that the teacher really is trying to show them the pronunciation. And especially, you know, like in the Qkids, you get in that big box sometimes when you're doing vocabulary. I really like that box because you can get a close up of your mouth when you're trying to pronounce the words. So I really use that to my advantage and like really exaggerate the sounds, or like if it's like plural or something like that, hands, like just so they can really see. They have problems with the V, like I said. Pay special attention to the R sound. It's really hard for them to do double L's, like doll. A lot of times they probably say doll. So doll, really exaggerate that. Oh, doll. And TH sounds like thank you. You might hear them say thank you, or teeth. So these sounds like that. Some of them are just like across the board. The children will have pronunciation issues with things like that, but particularly some of the letters they just don't have, and so it's really hard, or they say it differently, so it's hard for them to say it. So your parents definitely want you to correct them on that. And then the last one I would say is like how well they learned in that class. So the Chinese really focus on drilling in their schools. So we do a form of that by repeating things like at least 3 times, like the new vocabulary and stuff like that. So I would say kind of do drilling, but still do it in a fun way. Like I think in my other video I do mention that, just like if they have to say sentences a lot, make sure they get those sentences, highlight, clap, do motions. Like, I can't think of a sentence right now, so I'm gonna stick with my favorite one, which is pizza. Like, I have pizza. Okay, so just like do fun things to drill it and get it in their head, because the more that they remember, the happier their parents will be at the end. Sometimes it feels like the expectations are a little unrealistic. Like oh, my kids should know how to speak everything perfectly by the end of this class or something like that. So just use that as your goal, even though you know that might not always work out, but kind of just remember that is kind of their goal. So they'll really appreciate you doing that, especially with the sentences, that they're supposed to learn in the vocabulary. So really try to drill that, especially at the beginning. But I feel like the way that these platforms are set up, specifically Qkids, like they do it, the drilling happens for you. But sometimes you can just kind of gauge where they are and kind of just go with that too. Maybe you need to push it a little more. So I hope that helps you, gives you like a gauge of kind of diving in the mind, because it's another culture, another expectation, and maybe it just helps you know what is really expected from you, what they might be looking for, and what you can do to improve upon some of those things. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you would like to know anything else or have any specific questions, leave those below, and like, subscribe, and happy teaching. Bye.